Hello guys, welcome back to the Sam Scheffler YouTube channel. I wanted to make this video to help anybody that has to replace their propeller on a Volvo Penta SX stern drive. Some key things I wanted to go over were tightening torque and the tools you'll need. You'll need a block of wood. You'll need an 1/1/16 socket. You'll need a torque wrench. You'll need to torque it to 70 to 80 foot-pounds. And this is the diagram of how it comes off and how it goes on. You see the different components. You got your thrust bearing, your propeller, your thrust washer, your nut, this component that the cotter pin, it locks in, and the cotter pin goes through the shaft. Another thing to pay special attention to is you're going to need a block of wood. And you're going to need to put the boat in forward and reverse during this process. I will get into more details and specifications on this repair. Hey guys, first step to this job is to apply the methods of safety and remove the negative battery terminal so the engine doesn't have any possible way of starting. All right guys, got my wrench here. I'm just gonna remove it. All right, as you can see, I have the negative terminal off the battery. Now we're safe to work on the propeller. Hey guys, Sam Scheffler back here at the YouTube channel. As you can see, we did a little bit of damage out at the lake. Should have knew better. I'm gonna show you guys how to fix it. All right, first step is remove the cotter pin. Get your handy dandy needle nose pliers, bend the cotter pin straight, insert, and pull it out. All right guys, once you have the cotter pin out, take this component. Please, I couldn't find the name for this in the manual. If you guys know, please leave it in the comment section. Thank you. And next we have the nut. So we're gonna have to break that nut loose. I'll show you guys how to do that next. Next step, shift the boat into forward. Next step, remove the cotter pin. And this cotter pin mechanism. If you know what this is, please leave it in the comments. Couldn't find it in the manual. All right guys, the next step is to find a nice piece of wood that's soft, that won't damage anything, no nails in it, and wedge it in there. So we're gonna loosen this up. I'll show you guys how. All right guys, mine was super loose. It's a little alarming because I had it done at a professional marina. You need an 1/1/16 socket. Just have a Harbor Freight one. That would wedge in there. I didn't even need to put that in there. It just came loose, which is not cool. So I'm gonna pull this off and I'll show you guys the rest. All right guys, I'm gonna pull the nut off. Washer. Well, this is the propeller. It should just pull right off. And this is the thrust. Oh, that's on there a little tight. The thrust bearing, as the manual says. And I don't even know if I want to take this off, but they suggest to take this off to inspect the shaft. My shaft doesn't look too bad. I don't even know if it's worth it to get off there. I don't think I have to take it off for this exact propeller replacement, so I'm gonna leave it on there, but you might need a puller of some sorts to get that off. Everything looks pretty aligned. My shaft doesn't look bent. But you would need I believe you need a dial indicator to truly tell if it's bent or not, but just visually inspecting it looks good. So I'm gonna clean off this grease and reapply some Quicksilver high performance grease. That's what the local marina suggested, so I'm gonna use it. All right, next step. I removed everything. I got everything cleaned up, all the old grease off of the shaft. Now I'm gonna be applying a light coating of grease, and I'm going to just smear that around. You don't have to have a ton, just a nice coating. Okay, now it's time to put the propeller on. So make sure to put the propeller on the same way you pulled it off. So I have the Volvo Penta facing me. As you can see on the back side, looks a little different. So we're just gonna go ahead and put this on. Slides in. Now next we're gonna put our thrust washer on and our nut. I'm not sure if this has an orientation. It looks to be identical, symmetrical. So thrust washer, make sure the splines get on there and it locks in. Nut. Okay, now we're ready to torque, but we have to do one more thing before that. Next step, guys, we're going to put the boat in reverse. All right, guys, now it's time to torque. Once I put the boat in reverse, the manual states to torque between 70 and 80 foot-pounds or 95 and 108 newton meters. I have my torque wrench here. I really like Vera tools. Shout out to them. Be a tool rebel. And I have it set, as you can see, within those range. I always like to go a little, I always like to torque on the lower side of things, just to be careful. So I shouldn't have to put a block of wood in here as the manual states, so I'll change my socket out and torque, and I'll show you how I torque it. All right, I got my torque wrench set up, set to the correct torque range. One thing I wanted to mention, you never want to break a nut with a torque wrench. You always want to do that with a standard ratchet. So keep one hand on the head and we'll torque. Nice and smooth. Don't get jerky with a torque wrench. A little bit more. One. See, you get more out of it. 2, 3, 4. So you know that's torqued properly. Don't just torque once, torque multiple times to make sure you're on the correct setting. All right, guys, I figured out what this component's called after reading the manual. It's called the keeper. It's obviously to keep the cotter pin in place. My keeper's a little off center. I don't know what that has to do with, but now we'll reinstall the cotter pin. All right, guys, got the cotter pin in. Another suggestion, I went and got my lineman's pliers to put a little bit more leverage on there. And also I wanted to bend that in better so it won't fall out. It's always nice to have a nice dead blow soft mallet. Now the last step we should do is just rehook up the battery cable and we should be able to go back on the boat or take it on the water. So thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully this doesn't happen again. I've learned my lesson. Don't go to the shallow lakes, and I don't have a trim gauge, so I gotta fix that. So I might have to pull this whole unit off eventually here. I'm no expert, I'm no boat mechanic, but hopefully this instilled some confidence in you. Anybody can do this job, and thanks and have a wonderful day.